Well. Good evening, sight friend. It's the Middy Man coming at you again. Walks Music. Yet another word for the day. Wednesday night edition, people. We want to give God all the praise and honor and glory for life, health, and strength. We thank you for each and every one of you. It's been a while. It's been a minute since I did my word for the day. Been struggling with that thing for some reason. I don't know why. A lot of things been going on. Dealing with some things, and we praying for my sister right now. She's going through some health issues, and she's in the hospital and whatnot. We asking everybody to pray for my sister, the one up under me, in other words, and her name Betty. So we just asking each and every one for prayer for my sister, and that everything will be made all right. We give God the glory, though, like I said. And as you see, the title of this video tonight, and I came up with it, and like I said, I've been having a problem. For some reason, I've been struggling a little bit with the word for the day. I don't know whether I was getting discouraged about it, or I wasn't able to have my Bible study the other night, or I don't know. But at any rate, I thank God that I was able to, and I started it up tonight to do this video. And it says Gethsemane Moment. I want to talk to y'all a little bit tonight. Just a few moments. I'm not going to try to make a long video, but I want to explain the Gethsemane moment. The Gethsemane moment. Gethsemane, first of all, Gethsemane is a place, it's a garden in Israel that's located at the base of the Mount of Olives. It was a place that wasn't just haphazardly mentioned on the night of Jesus' betrayal. In fact, Gethsemane perhaps was a garden that Jesus often would go to for prayer. Also, he took his disciples there on many occasions to get away from everybody. It was a quiet place. But the reason I say Gethsemane moment is because people, all of us, every one of us, especially if you are Christian, you're going to have a Gethsemane moment. Oh, yes, sir. Let me tell you, you're going to have a Gethsemane moment. First of all, let me explain to you what Middy Man feels that Gethsemane moment is. I look at what Jesus dealt with on the night of his betrayal, where he was arrested right there in the Garden of Gethsemane. And this is what I feel that from what Jesus prayed, what he asked his Father, what he eventually told his Father. I'm not going to say that Gethsemane is a place of warfare to a degree, not to a degree, but it's a moment of decision making. It's a moment of letting your will become God's will. This is what I call a Gethsemane moment. Not as our will, but as God's will. Oh boy, that could be a hard place to be in. Because if you just notice Jesus' speech. When Jesus was in the garden, first of all, Jesus asked his Father to remove that cup. Remember that. Jesus asked his Father to remove that cup. He said, Father, with you all things are possible. And he wanted God to move that cup. That was a bitter cup, people. Because listen at it. We don't completely understand the Trinity. But just listen very closely. Remember now, Jesus was God. But he also was fully man. We don't understand it. Don't ask me, the man, to explain it, because I can't. But remember now, Jesus, in my opinion, this Middy Man's opinion now, I'm looking at Jesus being God. He knew what he was going to do. But he was also fully man. That means that what? It tells us plain as day in the Bible that Jesus felt the same thing that we feel. He was tempted in just like we be tempted. And in all ways, he suffered the same things in the passions that we suffer. So in other words, Jesus didn't have a get out of jail free card. So he was fully God, but yet he still was fully man. But he still asked his Father to let the cup pass. Then you wonder, well, why would you do that, Jesus? You was the Father. Don't ask me, the man, to explain it. I done told you, don't ask me to explain it. But this is the conversation that took place in the garden. It was a place of free will. Just like it was in the Garden of Eden. It was all about free will. Remember that now. God's will over my will. God's will over your will. So-called, when we say Jesus didn't want to die, no, he didn't want to die. Not that kind of death. He didn't want to die. Neither would you. His human side didn't want to die. Well, if we look at it like this, Jesus wasn't afraid of death. No. Couldn't have been afraid of death, because he knew that his Father was going to raise him up on the third day. So he did not ask his Father to remove the cup because he was afraid of death, because he knew he was getting up. That couldn't have been it. You know what I think it was, people? Now, this just me, man. You know, you can draw your own conclusion. You're free to do that. What I believe that Jesus was most afraid of is the fact that for just a brief moment in time, he was going to be separated from his Father. And he had never done that before. That was what I believe Jesus feared the most. He didn't even want to be separated from his Father, even for that just little space in time between the crucifixion and the resurrection. I believe that that's what it was. And you know what? It's not really sad that he was separated from his Father that long. We know, though, for a brief moment on the cross, while he was dying for my sin, see, God cannot deal with sin. He turned his back on his Father, on his Son. At that moment on the cross, when he took on the whole sins of the world, God turned his back. He forsook him because he had become what? Jesus had become me. And guess what? Many men deserved hell. And believe it or not, that's what Jesus was going through, utterly hell on that cross, people. He suffered and died on that cross, taking on the sins of all of us. So you can imagine what he was going through. And for that brief moment, he was separated from his Father. And this is what I think that was the biggest thing that Jesus didn't want to do. He didn't even want to be separated from his Father for this much, let alone in eternity. But oh brother, that Gethsemane moment, he said, Father, not my will, but your will be done. That's where we at, people. That's where we all be, especially if you're a Christian. We all get to the place where we have to make those Gethsemane decisions. That is the place where you will come to the end of yourself, or you will put your own self above the will of God. And that'll be the worst thing that you could do in your life, is to put your will above the will of God. You know, we make excuses. Some of us, we easy to make excuses. I make them, you make them. But don't keep making excuses. That was the hardest thing for Christ to do in that garden of Gethsemane that night of his betrayal and his arrest. He had to let go of his human will. See, that's what Adam should have done in the Garden of Eden, and we would have never been in this mess in the first place. Jesus would have never had to die. But because Adam messed up, Jesus had to come clean up. I hope y'all understand that. That's the best as I can explain it. Because Adam messed up, Jesus had to clean up. Jesus was the last Adam. And there won't be now another one, people. Jesus now is the only way. And if you're going to see the Father, you got to go through by the Son. God had put everything at Jesus' feet. Oh, yes, sir. Everything in heaven, on the earth, under the earth, must bow and say, Jesus is the Lord. Everything going to confess. Everything is given unto Jesus. Amen. That's the best middle man can put it, y'all. And I was going to do this in the Bible study, but like I said, for some reason I just couldn't do a Bible study. Matter of fact, it took me forever to even do this video. I got a feeling I know why now. But at any rate, remember, we all have Gethsemane moments. And sometimes you have more than one. Now, this didn't say that there was the only Gethsemane moment that Jesus had. Satan had tried Jesus many times during his ministry to try to get him and to deter him from the cross. But really and truly, Satan really didn't know the whole scope of things. Because if he had known that Jesus was going to get up, he would have never killed him. Oh, yeah. But see, God had that plan hid from Satan. Yes, sir. He had it hid from Satan. So now, because Jesus had his Gethsemane moment, you're going to have yours. I'm going to have mine. Where we have to come to the part that we're going to forsake our will for his will. That's what it's all about. That's my opinion, people. That's what I believe it's all about. Now, somebody else may have a different opinion. They may say he was afraid to die, but I don't think so. Why would Jesus be afraid to die? He knew he was getting up. No, it was that point in time where he was going to be separated from his Father. He did not want to be separated from his Father. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. So this middleman is saying whatever you get into. If God ain't in it, come out of it. Remember what Jesus said. Now, Jesus didn't want to be separated from his Father. So neither should you, neither should myself. Let's stay on the Lord's side. And people stop making excuses. I mean, really. And I'm talking not only to you, I'm talking to me too. I'm talking to myself. We need to stop making all these excuses for not doing what we know we should do. And sometimes I believe we do know what we should do. A lot of us we want to do our own thing. We make all kinds of these lame brain excuses and stuff, thinking God going to understand. God is not going to understand nothing. God's got a way, and his way is the best way and the only way, and you're going to do it his way. If you don't, you'll regret you didn't. Point blank. But we always got an excuse for why we didn't do this. I can't do. Oh, man, we need to stop it. In other words, just forget about all them excuses and do what God tells you to do. Point blank. This is Middleman saying, until the next video, next Bible study, whichever comes first. Peace and goodbye.